There are not many quarterbacks as interesting as Kyler, and although he looks like a 5th grader on the football field, he's able to play unlike many out there.
Today's a great day to showcase that.
Here's Murray, taken off, first down at the 10, at the 5.
Just outside of Fort Worth, Kyler was born in Bedford, Texas, to a former Texas A&M quarterback and his father Kevin and his mother Masoon. From the very beginning, football was in his DNA, and at the high school football powerhouse in Allen High, Kyler was able to ball out at quarterback. Not only was he just named Mr. Texas Football as a junior, but the following year as a senior as well, along with being the Gatorade Football Player of the Year. Pretty impressive accolades, but let's just say that his play backed it up, as he was able to lead his team to a perfect 42-0 record in his 3 years at quarterback, along with an impressive 3 straight state championship titles. After a dominant high school career at Allen High, Kyler was not just a 5-star recruit, but the top-ranked dual-threat quarterback in his class, with schools like Oklahoma, A&M, Auburn, and Arkansas interested. Even though it was a tough decision, eventually Kyler decided to follow in his father's footsteps and join the Aggies. Not just for football, but for baseball as well. All the while Kyler was dominated on the football field, he was doing the same on the baseball diamond, and could have likely gotten the scholarship from his baseball talent alone, considering that he was a top 10 ranked shortstop in the country. Nonetheless, the hype around what Kyler would bring to A&M was one of a kind, and so it was interesting to see what he would do in College Station. As the first player to ever be selected for both the All-American football and baseball games, Kyler was an anomaly at a high school, and so it seemed like he would have a legitimate chance to start as a true freshman. Considering that the only thing in between him starting was Kyle Allen, you would think that he would be a shoo-in, but it turns out he just wasn't enough. Kyle eventually won the starting job, so Kyler was only able to come in for bits and pieces until he eventually got the start against South Carolina. Although his first shot as the number 1, Kyler did well with over 200 yards and a touchdown passing, along with over 150 and a touchdown on the ground. An impressive stat line for the true freshman, and so he was able to start once again the following week against Auburn. A bit of a more difficult matchup, and it showed on the football field as Kyler struggled with barely 100 yards passing and 3 picks. Quite a drop from his production the previous week, and although he did a bit better against Western Carolina the following week, it was not enough to keep his starting spot as he lost it to Kyle once again. After a bit of an underwhelming freshman season with the Aggies, it wasn't a shock that he decided to transfer, but the fact that he chose Oklahoma was a bit of a surprise considering that they had a first-team All-American in Baker Mayfield at the helm. Either way, Kyler decided to take the leap, and because of it, had to sit out the entire 2016 season. Going into 2017 as a backup to Baker, not much was expected out of Kyler, and so his just over 350 yards and 3 touchdowns made sense considering that he was behind a Heisman winner. Since 2017 was practically a wash for Kyler, with Baker leaving for the NFL the following season, it was up to him to show out in his last chance as a senior. Just like when he initially showed up at College Station, Kyler had some competition once again, with this time sophomore Austin Kendall gunning for the spot. Although he lost the previous time, he wasn't going to give it up once again, as he took the spot and ran with it.
Playing for a national championship. Kyler Murray with loads of time, he'll just take off. Kyler Murray showing off the wheels!
Unlike the years before, Kyler was able to put all the pieces together and play as well as anyone in college football. Game after game, week after week, he was dominant, and in fact dominant enough to not just take home a Big 12 championship, but also help the Sooners make an appearance in the college football playoff. Against the Crimson Tide, although Kyler was impressive with over 300 passing and 2 touchdowns through the air, along with over 100 and a touchdown on the ground, it wasn't enough to take home a victory as they lost 45-34. No matter the case, Kyler put together a phenomenal showcase that year, and the football world took notice.
The 2018 Heisman Trophy is awarded to Kyler Murray.
Just like his bud and Baker the year before, Kyler won the Heisman, and by doing so became one of the most talked about prospects in the upcoming draft. Everything seemed simple enough, but as I mentioned earlier, Kyler was also a very high-rated baseball recruit, and in fact was selected 9th overall by the Oakland A's in the 2018 MLB draft.
The Oakland Athletics select Kyler Murray, an outfielder from the University of Oklahoma.
Although an interesting option for Kyler, after his Heisman season with the Sooners, the NFL seemed much more appealing, and so on February 11th, 2019, he announced his decision to forego his baseball career and focus on football. Even though he put together an impressive senior year in Norman, there were still doubts about whether or not he would be able to succeed as an NFL quarterback at only 5'10". Not many, outside of anomalies like Russell Wilson, had been able to do well at a similar size. But after going off at the combine, the doubters were quickly silenced as Kyler was once again solidified as one of the top prospects in his class. Questions like would he go first overall like his former teammate and Baker, or would he fall because of his size, were debated up until draft day, when the Cardinals decided to take a major risk.
The Arizona Cardinals select Kyler Murray, quarterback, Oklahoma.
After selecting one of the biggest busts in NFL history, 10th overall the previous year, many would be hesitant to take a quarterback once again, but the Cardinals saw something special in Kyler, so they decided to pounce on the opportunity. Since he was selected first off the board, the hype surrounding his rookie performance was about as big as it gets, and although it was a lot of pressure to live up to, Kyler was able to put together a solid season with over 3,700 yards and 20 touchdowns passing, along with over 504 touchdowns on the ground. Considering the track record of how well most Heisman quarterbacks play their first year in the NFL, it was an impressive stat line, and good enough to earn him the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year award, along with being named a Pro Bowl alternate. Not too shabby of a way to start in the desert, and so many wondered whether or not Kyler would have a sophomore slump or be able to take his game to the next level the following year. It pretty much seemed like a toss-up, but somehow Kyler was able to do his thing that season, with nearly 4,026 through the air, along with this time over 800 and an insane 11 on the ground. Pretty much MVP caliber stats, and good enough to earn Kyler a spot on the NFC Pro Bowl team in only his second year with the Cardinals. Already he had established himself as one of the most exciting players in football, so now it was on him to take his game up a level the following season, now that he and Hopkins had a year under their belt. A bit of a tall task on the stat sheet, so it wasn't much of a surprise that Kyler had a drop in his production, with this time under 3,800 and 24 through the air, along with only 405 on the ground. Even though he didn't play as well as he did the previous year, it was still enough to lead the Cardinals to their first postseason in a hot second. Considering that they were matched up against a dominant Rams unit, it seemed like they lost before the game even started. And well,
Rams pressure is picked up. Kyler! Did he get rid of it? It's intercepted!
a bit of a humiliating way to end the year. And so going into this season, there were questions surrounding not just Kyler, but the Cardinals as a whole. And so far, it's been pretty underwhelming. Since Hopkins is out the first 6 games due to a PED suspension, it has made it much more difficult for Kyler and the gang to put up points. So although they beat the Raiders in a wild fashion in week 2, let's just say that this year may be an uphill battle for the Cardinals. But no matter the case, as long as Kyler is in the desert, anything is really possible, because he is one of the most unpredictable talents in football. Kyler Murray is one of the most exciting players in the NFL,
Murray, can he get
how you
there?
slice it. And let's just say, I think he has a lot left in the tank. Thanks for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below what stuff you want next. But anyways, see you all soon, and peace out.